The stability of the Middle East is getting worse every second of the day. I said, you heard it from my mouth. I said, hey, I wouldn't be surprised if a bomb was dropped on some key oil facilities in Saudi Arabia. 2 days later, Iran dropped a bomb, and the Pentagon is making it very clear that Iran is at fault. And so this is what we do, okay? First, we assess the situation. Then we blame who is at fault, and then we send tanks in. And so we did this to Libya in year 2000. Libya wasn't at fault. Really, it was down to the dollar. It had to do with the Libya trying to prop up the denarii. And because of that, it went against our currency. So what do? We sent troops in. It caused a vacuum, killing 500,000 people. But our central banks replaced their denarii system. So we play the blame game. So we go on public and say, hey, Iran's at fault. Libya's at fault. Russia's at fault. And then we send our troops in. And so it's the same tactic over and over again. Okay. And so we're playing the blame game right now. And we're putting the blame on Iran. And so, look, the Middle East is falling apart. The tensions are unbelievable with what's going on in Turkey, Syria. And we're sending in 14,000 troops. And it's getting very interesting. I'm going to let you guys watch this news clip. And this is the Secretary of Defense, Esper, is giving a press conference on the U.S. military conflict in the Middle East.
Over the past several days, Chairman Milley and I have been working closely with President Trump and the rest of the national security team to discuss the United States military operations in the Middle East. Today, we will provide you an update on the situation and announce some changes to the U.S. force posture in the region. Beginning with Syria, we oppose and are greatly disappointed by Turkey's decision to launch a unilateral military incursion into northern Syria. This operation puts our SDF partners in harm's way. It risks.
So they're condemning. They're condemning Turkey right now, and they're disconnecting themselves from the situation by condemning them. They knew this was going to happen, but by condemning them, it opens up the door to attack them. Okay, this is what they do over and over again. I'm not saying they're going to attack them, but it does leave room for attacks later.
The security of ISIS prison camps and will further destabilize the region. From the president on down, we have communicated with the Turks on this issue. I spoke with Turkish Defense Minister Akar yesterday to express our strong opposition to Turkey's actions and reiterated the damage this is doing to our bilateral relationship. The chairman has similarly been in communication with his counterpart. As we previously reported, when Turkey notified us of an imminent military operation, we relocated a small contingent of less than 50 special operations soldiers out of the immediate zone of attack. This decision was made to ensure American troops were not caught up in the fighting between Turkish and Kurdish forces. The safety of our men and women in uniform remains our top priority. As such, we are repositioning additional forces in the region to assist with force protection as necessary. The SDF also transferred 2 ISIS militants, known as the Beatles, who were involved in the kidnapping and murder of U.S. and U.K. citizens in Syria to our custody. They are being held in a safe and secure location in the region, but outside of Syria. At this time, we have made no additional changes to our force posture in Syria, but will continue to assess the situation and our troop levels there. To be clear, we are not abandoning our Kurdish partner forces, and U.S. troops remain with them in other parts of Syria. The impulsive action of President Erdogan to invade northern Syria has put the United States in a tough situation, given our relationship with our NATO ally Turkey, who has fought alongside the United States in the past, the Syrian Democratic Forces who helped us destroy the physical caliphate of ISIS, and the safety of U.S. military personnel. Rather than get pulled into this conflict, we put the welfare of our soldiers first, while urging Turkey to forego its operation and working hard with us to address their concerns through the development of a security zone along the border. We remain in close coordination with the Syrian Democratic Forces who helped us destroy the physical caliphate of ISIS. But I will not place American service members in the middle of a long-standing conflict between the Turks and the Kurds. This is not why we are in Syria. We will continue to work with the 80 members of the Defeat ISIS coalition and the Syrian Democratic Forces to ensure the defeat of ISIS. Turning to Iran, it is clear that the Iranians are responsible for the recent attacks on Saudi Arabian oil facilities. Our international partners agree, including the United Kingdom, France, and Germany, who have said so publicly.
So the fact that they're bringing up the Iran is at fault for this military strike on key oil facilities in Saudi Arabia, they're also coming up with the fact that the United Nations and some other kingdom agrees with them, because everybody knows, especially Russia, especially Libya, Kuwait, all these other countries, everybody knows that America, a part of a publicity stunt, blames something on someone else, then they roll their tanks in. It's what the Bushes did to take over the oil, to prop up U.S. currency. So we don't have to do that anymore because our currency is the most powerful currency in the world. And we don't need oil anymore because we're producing so much oil. And I'm going to talk about that later. But it does open up the door for us to attack Iran. So every time we condemn a country, it justifies rolling tanks in.
Despite Iran's attempts to deny their involvement, the evidence recovered so far proves that Tehran is responsible for these attacks. Iran's continued malign behavior is part of its larger campaign to destabilize the Middle East and disrupt the global economy. Iran's attempts to use terror, intimidation, and military force to advance its interests are inconsistent with international norms. Today, I spoke with the Saudi Minister of Defense to discuss the status of Saudi Arabia's defensive capabilities and our ongoing efforts to protect our partners from further Iranian aggression. Saudi Arabia is a long-standing security partner in the Middle East and has asked for additional support to supplement their own defenses and defend the international rules-based order. In response to continued threats in the region, I've ordered the deployment to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia of 2 additional fighter squadrons and supporting personnel, along with additional Patriot and THAAD air and missile defense batteries. Taken together with other deployments I've extended or authorized within the last month, this involves about 3,000 United States forces. In fact, in response to Iranian provocations since May, the U.S. has deployed an array of additional capabilities to the region, including airborne early warning aircraft squadrons, maritime patrol aircraft squadrons, Patriot air and missile defense batteries, B-52 bombers, a carrier strike group, amphibious transport dock, unmanned aircraft, and engineering and support personnel. This has involved the deployment of about 14,000 additional U.S. forces to the region.
So you don't send 14,000 military men to Saudi Arabia for something small. I mean, you think about it, if you've ever heard of Burlington, Northern Santa Fe, I believe the last I heard, they had 5,000 employees. Okay, this is 14,000 trained military men sending in B-2 bombers. They're sending in F-16s, airplanes. They're sending in anti-aircraft weaponry. We're sending in billions and billions of dollars worth of equipment. This is a massive move into Saudi Arabia. What they're preparing for, they condemned Iran, and now they're sending in 14,000 troops with powerful military weapons. They're preparing for a major escalation in the Middle East, and they're not messing around. I mean, they're not going to drop bombs in Saudi Arabia. They have B-2 bombers to fly into Iran to cause some serious havoc. Okay, and so what do you think is going to happen? Do you think Iran is going to wait for them to prepare and mobilize their troops? No, I believe that they're going to make a move now, because they're not going to be able to make any more moves once America comes in. And if they're crazy enough to attack America, it's game over, guys. And so the Middle East is it's as unstable as it was when Saddam Hussein was in office. It's getting unbelievable out there. I want to go into and so just today, Iranian officials say 2 rockets struck an Iranian tanker traveling through the Red Sea off the coast of Saudi Arabia. So today they attacked another oil tanker. And let's see who did it. off the coast of Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia is attacking back. Good for them. They destroyed a Iranian oil taker. And so if you look here, U.S. sends more forces to the Middle East. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about is so we all know that the Middle East is falling apart. The war causes oil prices to go up. Today, the oil prices are almost $55 a barrel. That's up from that's $3 higher from what it was just 2 days ago. Okay, just with that news today. And so everybody's been saying, "Oh, oil prices are going to flatline. They're not going to go up. We got too much shale." And I've been saying this for the last several months. No, it's not. Look, oil prices are about to go up. I said there's going to be bombs in Saudi Arabia, and nobody was really talking about it, and it happened. I said oil prices are going to go up because the Middle East is going to fall apart, and nobody saw that happening. I said months ago, I said a year ago, we're going to pull out all our troops out of the Middle East, and that started happening. And except for the fact that we're sitting in more in Saudi Arabia because something crazy is going to happen. So that you don't just change policy just because. That's making Trump look bad, but bottom line, there must be a major reason. They know something that we don't. But and so oil prices are going up, and the shale game is falling apart. And so bottom line, we cannot maintain these shale numbers at current prices. So if you look at the oil giant slashes jobs amid shale slowdown, Halliburton announced that it would lay off 650 workers across 4 U.S. states due to the slowdown in shale. Okay? And so shale is falling apart, guys. Shale it cannot maintain at these current prices. Okay? Trump had economic warfare against the Middle East by controlling oil prices, by lowering them. Okay? And so everything that is funded, every bit of tear in the Middle East is funded by oil. And so how do you fight against a militia? You take their money. How do you take their money? You lower oil prices. But at the same time, Trump is hurting, not only is he hurting OPEC in the Middle East and Russia and all those people, high GDP, well, he's also hurting our fellow Americans. So we jacked up oil prices 10 million barrels a day with shale alone. The problem is that the decline curve for shale is much higher. So it starts here and it drops here, as where a conventional oil play, it steadily maintains that output and doesn't drop very quickly. They can produce for 40 years. Shale plays might produce for at high output for 6 months to a year and then drop down to nothing. And so Halliburton slashed over 600 jobs. British Petroleum and all the major oil companies in the U.S. are slashing jobs. Rigs are being taken off the market. Output is slowing, and you're going to see it even faster. So it's like a slingshot. I mean, it's a metaphorical slingshot. Less production, less output, Middle East tension. Bam, we're back to $100 oil. So I'm here to tell you. I said, hey, I wouldn't be surprised if bombs dropped in Saudi Arabia. And 2 days later, there was bombs dropped by Iran. And I said, hey, tensions are about to flare up. And some people believe me, some people didn't. And here we are, guys. I said oil prices are going to start go up. Well, all of these guys for J.B. Morgan Chase and all these people, well, you think it's going to flatten. It's not. Look, it's going up, guys. And so I've been right with a lot of things that are happening in the tensions in the Middle East. And I'm telling you, you heard it from me. You're going to see oil prices back up to triple digits again. We're going to see $100 oil in the very near future. Maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. But I'm telling you right now, we're going to see triple digit oil prices. There's 30 plus million barrels of oil being produced a day in the Middle East. And all that is at risk right now. So I'm Sean Pruitt, president of Kingdom Exploration. If you guys have any questions, feel free to give me a call anytime. And I'd love to chat with you. We're doing some great things in Texas right now and some amazing oil projects. Love to chat with you. Thanks.